Uh, yeah, excited to get into. Sorry, I just saw a bando call, seeing what it was.
Heyo.
Bando, the shitcoin king now.
Is he back in his Telegram? I know he got, takes some I'm in there, but I know he takes breaks for a couple weeks or months at a time and
Yeah, he's back now. Um, yeah, he's been doing pretty good. I think he's had a couple good ones. He kind of all over the map. He'll call like some like really weird ones, and then he'll call some like really on target ones. Um, but yeah, we could probably get started here. Silva, if you're good to go.
yeah, man, let's do it.
Yeah, welcome in, everyone, to another Wake and Jake here in this fine Monday morning. Jinzo is out for the week. He is, or not the week, but just today. I think he's doing some. I think he said he's like scouting out a hunting spot. For I can't remember what it was for. I can't remember what season or what he's hunting specifically. But that's what he's doing this morning. So we have the lovely Silva filling in for us, thankfully, or filling in for Jinzo, thankfully. Yeah, Silva, how you doing this morning, man?
GM, Jake, and then all of MVHQ doing great. Happy to be here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for reaching out and just, asking me to fill the big old Canadian shoes of Jinzo. I know none of us can, but happy to step in and do my best impersonation with a bunch of A's and maple syrup to boot.
I'm sure you'll knock it out of the park. Uh, all right, yeah, we can get into it. First, obviously, got a shout out. Our yearly mint starts tomorrow, the 29th. Um, pretty simple process. Same as last year. You just have to hold your current NFT, burn your current NFT to mint a new NFT. We're calling it the year 5 pass this time. Doesn't really make sense to call it a 2025 pass when it lasts like months after 2025. So we're calling it the year 5 this time. Lasts for a whole year. Same, access as normal. So yeah, make sure to get your mints in starting tomorrow. And yeah, on a macro, a macro fund, Jinzo just placed a tariff on silver for today. That's great. On a macro front, we're seeing some green, some green and some red, I guess, this morning. Green on the weekly horizon, I should say. Bitcoin up 6.3% this week. ETH up 8.5% this week. Solana up 4.7. Slightly, the same. For today, we had a nice pump earlier in the morning, and then it's dumping since the stock market's opened. In general, though, really nice progress across the board here for our coins over the past week. It's I marked out in the last show. We really wanted to get above that 91K spot on Bitcoin to start feeling good and getting more risk on, and we passed that last week, and we stayed above it, for multiple daily closes for the weekly close, which happens on Sunday nights, Sunday evenings. And I think we're largely like look in a pretty good spot right now. You can see that for sure playing out in the market where people are going more risk on with these bunch of meme coins pumping. Obviously, Fartcoin's been a big story. Pengu's been a big story. But on the Bitcoin front specifically, really, I think where we wanna hold here is this 90, kind of like that. What happens, when we pass the resistance, that's been a long time resistance. We really want to hold back above that, and that becomes the support. So as long as we stay really above this 91K area, then I think we're in a pretty good spot. We can have some dips in between then, and then that's just perfectly fine. Profit taking before the next level up. That's a lot of what D Farmer has said with his what he said recently in this tweet. Let me link it. Basically talking about how he thinks Bitcoin is chop solidated here for a bit. So he thinks we're probably going to chop for just a little bit after that big move. Ideally above 91K. Get the over leveraged people out of the way, and then we can keep rallying up. And he's also said on a similar note that he thinks ETH Bitcoin ratio has bottomed, at least for quite a while, for the foreseeable future, short to midterm. And he actually likes, believe it or not, I know this is crazy to say, he actually likes ETH, which has been historically not a good thing to like for quite a long time now. But I mean, at some point, it's it's got to bounce, right? I mean, it's just been bleeding for forever. If you kind of look at a higher time frame chart, like the 4 hour, the daily, for ETH BTC, you can kind of see that it's broken out of its downtrend, and heading back up. So there's some indications that there could be some ETH strength, and a lot of times what that signals is an alt season, which would be nice, and what we've starting to see in here with so many other alts pumping across the board. So yeah, I think things are looking pretty good in general from my perspective. The big outlier, um, the big wild card, I should say, continues to just be Trump. It's hard to know what he's going to do on a daily basis. You can have all the TA you want, and he can just do some crazy shit, like he did with the tariffs, and he can, maybe he could pump us like crazy, maybe he could dump us like crazy. So that's the unfortunate thing about this, is that it's hard to know that kind of uncertainty. But right now, um, in terms of his overall macro stances loosening with the tariff stuff, trade deals starting to get done with other countries, tariffs getting postponed. Largely, we're in good news zone and trending up at the moment.
Yeah, man. I love everything you said there. I'm in pretty much wholesale agreement with you. I think the moves rather we saw last week with Bitcoin, ETH, the majors and even most of the big alts, super bullish, super encouraging, right, for kind of the broader term. But I personally, I haven't taken up a whole lot of new positions in anything yet, just because I am hoping to see. I am hoping to see a little bit of kind of that D farmer thesis come true, right? Like I want to see some chop solidation. I do want to see us. I think you made a great point of flipping that 90 91K area into a support. So if we range down there over the today, tomorrow, this week, I'm not going to be too worried, because I almost would like to see us bounce off that, maybe hit 91-ish, come back up to 92 to 94K. And even like you said, I think D Farmer had a tweet yesterday. Yesterday or the day before, where it just said alt dot dot dot. Right, like he doesn't want to say alt season, but obviously you can tell that's what he's thinking. And so many of the moves we saw, even just on the 7 day chart, right? Bitcoin's plus 6%, ETH plus 8%, Sol plus 6%. But then you go down to, Fartcoin plus 27%, Pengu plus 122%. So it, I want it to be true, Jake. I'm not speaking it into existence, because I feel like every time we say it, it gets even further away. But God, an alt season right now would be so nice, just for, I'm sure, some bags a lot of us in here are holding, and just for some meme coin and some shit coin trading, which I know you've been just as active in there, calling some absolute heat over the weekend.
Yeah, it's been fun to see things ramp up a bit. Definitely want to get to that. Before we transition there, I want to share another tweet from D Farmer, kind of again talking about the ETH Bitcoin ratio. He says he thinks never below 1,500 ever again, which is a pretty wild
Woo!
take. That's certainly a hot take, considering we're only at 17 like 50 right now. That's not very far away. We were just under that, like, I don't know, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. briefly at least, and so, yeah, he also said that he added an ETH Bitcoin ratio long as well. So he's certainly bullish on ETH's outperformance here at the moment. Again, which would be really good for alts. In general, I think. I wanted to address Akinkar. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. But he said, "What about sell in May and go away?" Which is if you guys aren't familiar, it's a popular adage that you get rid of your assets before summer comes because volume is lower. A lot of stuff bleeds. I think in general, markets typically do a little bit worse in the summer. I don't know. Personally, I this is just like my own sentiment check, but I've seen a lot of this, like people talking about selling May going away, and that makes me think it's not going to be a great time to sell, just because like whenever something like that is consensus and people have a consensus view on what's going to happen with the market, like usually the opposite happens a lot of times. Market likes to give people pain. So if that consensus like continues to warm up and people are talking about that while we trend higher, and we still look good, then I'm probably not gonna. I don't know. I'm not gonna ascribe to that as much. But I don't know. I'm mainly trying to focus on the next month before deciding whether or not to sell. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, we stay above this 91K area.
Yeah, I'm of a similar thought. Like, I feel like that, sell in May and go away, right? It's a saying for a reason, both in traditional markets and I feel like we've seen that kind of play out to an extent the last few years, right? Just
Yeah.
summertime, everyone wants to go touch grass, vacations. So there's just a little less opportunity. And yet I want to say, we have even if we've seen more kind of macro-ish downtrending in those periods, right? I feel like we got, it wasn't last year, it must have been the year before that. I want to say that's right around when WIF came out, was sometime summer-ish 2023. And
Uh-huh.
so, while it can definitely be true, and it remains to be seen kind of whether we see that this year or not. I do think, that doesn't just mean check out completely, right? It doesn't mean, oh, it's May, sell all your crypto, don't participate in anything. There will, even if that does happen, there'll still be profitable NFT mints, really profitable shit coins that pop off. So it's everything kind of with a grain of salt, right? Like I never, and that's just kind of my own personal thesis for trading anything, right? It's kind of like you said, Jake. If everyone's doing one thing, there's going to be opportunity going the other way, right? Everyone's zigging. You want to zag even just a little bit because there's going to be an opportunity that everyone else is just not even trying to pay attention for. So I do think even if we see a little bit of downturn kind of heading into summertime, doesn't mean opportunities going away completely. So always good to keep your head on a swivel in my book.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, I think it's like a lot of times, especially too, when we do have that chop for majors, then opportunity opens up. Farther down the risk curve in alts and NFTs and stuff because people are bored from trading the other ones, and volume kind of trickles down to other
Hmm.
stuff. And yeah, like you said, that's kind of where you want to pay attention. And also, if you are a full subscriber of Sell in May and Go Away, it's I mean, I'm looking at the date right now. It's not May yet. It's still April, so we got time. We got some time to do well. Um, yeah, man. Yeah, we can. Does anyone, well, first off, does anyone else have anything on like macro stuff, Bitcoin, ETH, before we transition here?
I do see Waff Dog in the audience there. Not going to peer pressure him into coming up, but I know he's about as plugged into anyone, and he trades just about as much as anyone. So Waff, you got any comments or any thoughts on selling May go away, or what maybe what you're looking to do? Would love to hear it, man.
Hey, GM guys. good to hear you guys talk. I'm glad I was able to make it. Yeah, I think sell in May is kind of a real thing. That doesn't mean I want to be all out of the markets. I just think if you got some profits, you want to take a little bit off the table. I think it's a good time to do it. Staying a little bit balanced, I think, always is helpful.
Good to
Yeah,
know. Good
love
to
that.
know.
Yeah, I think especially if we do have some kind of type of nice run up here in May, I'd be more of a subscriber to that too. Um, like you said, Waf, it doesn't hurt to take off some profits in the summertime, feeling good about things, and then keeping a degen bag to gamble on the smaller stuff during that time. But yeah, we can obviously address that more here as we get closer to that decision point.
Yeah, I feel like me and Jinzo had this conversation. I feel like every year, and we didn't sell in May, and then we always look back regretting it. So I just feel
Yeah,
like if we don't, it happens again, man. It's just like deja vu all over again.
yeah, yeah. I feel that. We'll see what sentiment is as we get more into it. Maybe we start pumping and everyone's like, no, no, you're not gonna sell in May. Like this time's different. And then maybe I'll be more acclimated or more in tune to do so. Uh, um, but yeah, we can transition here. Wanted to talk about meme coins, shit coins in general, altcoins in general, I should say. Seeing a really nice balance across the board, really, on a lot of the strong stuff over the past week or two. With Bitcoin showing strength, there's more risk on in the market. We're seeing people come back who have kind of taken a break for a couple months. Been seeing that in chat. Been seeing influencers who have kind of just bear posting a bunch. Flip into shilling meme coins again. Um, it feels like the clouds are parting a bit, which has been nice. The main runners, Fartcoin has certainly been like the hot topic. It kind of led the way in the bounce of strength, and then it's consolidated a bit here above $1, and then a lot of other stuff's starting to play a little catch up. Pengu, another huge winner. That's good to see. I think there's a good amount of Pengu back holders and lovers here in MVHQ. Really strong bounce off of lows, and then just in general, if you look at the meme sector, a lot of the big stuff has had really nice bounces. Bonk as well has been a big one with their launchpad for to compete with Pump Fun and yeah, just in general. I mean, AI coins in general. So, um, sorry, I had a hiccup. Just in general, it's great to see the risk coming back into the market. I think it was such a. I mean, it's quite a long period. Like really since like Melania happened, right? Things tanked from there. Trump gets in office. I think people had huge expectations on delivering a ton of like crypto stuff. Bitcoin reserve. There's like talks of like other digital asset reserves. Like Trump's just going to buy all of our coins. Doesn't happen right away. And things tank quite a bit. And plus just a lot of froth in general from a lot of scammy coin launches and such. And things tank quite a bit and haven't been good since. And then, finally we're starting to see, I think, people come back into the market. They're starting to see some confidence. We're starting to see people bull post who, people actually follow and believe in. I mean, Ansem is one of them. I mean, regardless of what your take is on Ansem, I'm not like the biggest fan, but he does have a lot of influence, and the fact that he is not bear posting anymore, but is like starting to post meme coins and stuff again is positive for increased liquidity into the meme coin market, and I'm seeing a lot of people more willing to dive in. And yeah, it's been fun over in shitcoin chat. We've had quite a bit of more runners. I mean, it just in general, I was still participating here or there, even in the bad times, and like, I mean, we'd be lucky if a coin got to like 500K, and now we have coins running to 30 million like on a daily basis. So it's been exponentially more liquidity coming into the market, which is good for coins in general, to have a little bit more of a sustained pump on things. So that's been more fun. I don't know, Silva, have you been or anyone else been getting in the trenches, or how you feeling about things?
Definitely feeling way better about altcoins, and not just because a big part of my portfolio is made up of them. Specifically, two that you named, Fartcoin and Pangu. Like I mean, they've been melting face, right? Like there's not really a better way to say it. Like you said, Fartcoin kind of led it all. Really, the past month ish, maybe even a little bit longer. I mean, it pumped when everything else was still dumping. It really did lead the way, kind of showing that it is probably going to be the if not one of the kind of coins of this cycle. And I think you've spoken to that quite a bit in past episodes, Jake, that it's funny, right? It's a funny meme. It's a
Hmm.
fart coin. It's also an AI coin on top of that. And you get it gets exposure with people not traditionally in crypto. Some of the tradfi bros, you've kind of posted some tweets and stuff you've seen from people who just think it's funny, people allocating a little bit of their portfolio because they saw it here, there, or anywhere. So fart coin just falling down to whatever it was, 20 cents or maybe even a little below that, and being able to pop back up over a dollar, consolidate here before hopefully it makes another move. Super bullish there. And to your other point of just having the influencers on board, I I'm very similar. Ansem is whatever. I don't really care for him, but
Yeah.
him, Bonk guy, having them all in the space and just actively bull posting, I will take that over bear posting or just vanishing any day of the week, right? And I think we've seen that, and something as simple as Bonk guy, once a week or once every few days, updating like his Fartcoin long P&L, right? He's like, oh, well, now it's at 3 million, now it's at 5 million. I do think that has a sort of psychological effect on the broader space of whether people are in that trade or not. They see that and they're like, wow, this guy's making $5 million from longing Fartcoin. And that breeds a little bit more of that bullishness, kind of convinces people, okay, I guess there still is money to be made here. And I think you see that trickle down into a lot of those, 30, 40, 50 million market cap runners that you were talking about. So super bullish, super, or not super bullish, but feeling bullish, feeling a lot better, than we were even just 2, 3 weeks ago. Uh, and yeah, man, definitely not trenching to the same degree as you. I mean, you are the master trencher, but I've gotten in there. Got a couple. It might have even been last week. I got in a little bit of that horse race token, that you
Oh yeah.
dropped. Um, Thankfully, it was less than an hour flip for me. So, because I think I checked back the next morning and it had already tanked below, I don't know, 100K or something. But it was nice for a quick 3-4x from where I got in one night from you shouting it out and dropping the contract. So obviously you're still on the top of your game, helping everyone in MVHQ eat. So thank you for the continued diligent work down there that you're doing, man. If nothing else, it's enjoyable, and you always get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, man, I'm trying. Ooh, I'm watching what I just shared earlier. Pump right now. Well, Gracito. Um, uh, yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, I wanted to talk. I just want to like just like reaffirm my bullishness on Fartcoin. In my opinion, like it feels like there's like these one or two, maybe three, like big memes that are like the memes of the cycle, and it just like where they're like the new coins. It was like Doge last cycle, like Doge Safe Moon. Um, it was like Whiff and Bonk, and Pepe, kind of like late 2023, 2024, and now it just feels like pretty consensus that like Fartcoin's the big one for this cycle right now, and it's just like I loved it, like you touched on it too, but I loved it because it already had mindshare, quite a bit of mindshare just from a TradFi perspective. Like, and that's what I look for the most is like you want more buyers than just like the general like crypto audience. You want something that can go like completely viral, and it was already like being talked about, and like and I'm like I don't know. I'm trying to think of the like Fox Business or whatever. All these like business shows and stuff. People are like and like these like analysts that are like professional TradFi people are like posting the Fartcoin chart, and I just think stuff like that. It's and just the fact like it's just like if you say Fartcoin like you can't help but like just smile a little bit or laugh. Like it's just like it's immediately like evident what the meme is. You don't have to explain it to anyone. Um, and that's why I love it so much, and it already has like so much mind share. That to me, it's like in the fact like the strength to just from like a technical analysis standpoint, the strength that it's shown to be, really the first runner, the first thing to bounce among memes, among AI coins was Fartcoin, and the strongest. And I think that being like a leading indicator helps it a lot going forward. Like it's already, I think, like 50% of its all-time high right now. And if you look at all these other coins, like they're not even. I don't even think they're like 25%, or maybe not even like 20% of where they were for their all-time high. Like all these other bigger memes. So I think that in itself shows a lot of strength. I think it can go like I can think it. In my opinion, like upside is like the second biggest meme, which I think is flipping Shiba something, which I think might be like 10 billion or so. I'm not sure. I don't have it up right now. But in my opinion, like it can go quite a bit higher from here as it continues to gain, more mainstream appeal. So very, very big on Fartcoin.
Definitely. Shiba right now, for reference, is just under an 8 billion market cap. So it'd be
Okay.
about an 8x from where Fartcoin is now. So $8 Fartcoin, boys and girls.
You heard your first. Well, you probably didn't, but
Hey Jake.
Jake. Oh,
hey, what's up, Waf?
Oh, and maybe I have some incomplete information, but I guess I have a different take on Farcoin. So just to play, I guess, a little bit devil's advocate.
Sure.
On Radium, like what I see is, I mean, it's basically 5x since like early March on like super low volume. So I'd be like a little bit nervous, I guess, holding Farcoin going into this May period because it's already 5x. It's done it on like essentially no volume. Maybe it's trading somewhere else like a lot more, and that's the part that I could be missing here. But just based on, I guess, like the chart that I'm looking at on Deck Screener, it just seems like the volume is still kind of low, but it's 5x, with this low volume. So I'd be nervous come May if people decide, they want to take a quick profit. This thing could easily, go down 50% like nothing on one big red candle, I think.
Sorry, could you say again? What'd you say that volume number was?
I see like 8.8 million volume in the last 24 hours, but if you just look at the daily volume, I'm just going to screenshot this the chart. You can see like that whole climb up was essentially on like very low volume.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what sites are like the most accurate for this, but I'm looking at CoinGecko and it says 286 million 24-hour volume for Fartcoin.
Okay, so then that like nulls what I was saying entirely, but it does
Yeah,
look
I'm
like,
not
I
sure.
guess,
I'm not sure which one's more accurate, to be honest. I haven't looked at
okay,
that.
that's fair. I guess if it's a low volume, I'd be nervous, but if there's a lot of volume, then I take it all back.
Yeah,
no,
no,
but
that's
that
good
that
to
is
know.
that is great context, Wolf. I appreciate you chiming in there and giving a little bit of that, because I truthfully, I don't look at that enough. I don't look at volume, especially from, particular dexes or market makers or anything. So appreciate when anyone can give a little more context to some stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. I'm always looking at data points.
Jake, I wanted to ask you my kind of last question about Fartcoin and just seeing if you have an opinion here. Um, Obviously it's not on any centralized exchanges, right? No tier one exchanges, nothing like that. It's only available via dexes. And so I follow Bonk Guy pretty closely just because he's a fantasy top hero. Um, so something he's posted about, he even had a really long post. I'll see if I can find it in a second. This past week was that he and some other Fartcoin whales have been approached by tier one centralized exchanges and entities like that, seeing if they can basically OTC Fartcoin or get a loan and things like that,
Uh,
because otherwise they just have to buy it straight up in the market. And if they want to buy enough to put on their exchange, obviously that would cause quite a volatile swing in price there.
yeah.
Do Not that I have any reason not to believe Bonk Guy, but at the same time, don't really have a reason to believe him. I just wanted to get your opinion. Do you buy into that thesis? Do you think that is happening? And obviously that does make sense why it wouldn't have been on exchanges yet, because they just have to buy it, and just like everyone else if they want it, and how that factors in at all to your your thinking and your mental math for how to approach this trade.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I buy into it just because, like, if you think about the incentives from an exchange perspective, they want coins that do a lot of volume because they make their money on fees. So the
Hmm.
more volume, the more fees they get, and fart coins, one of the highest volume coins out there. I mean, it has so much mind share, there's so many people trading it. So I don't see why they wouldn't want it on their platform, right? So I could see them wanting
Hmm.
to get a nice deal over the counter, for some coins for liquidity on things. So I buy into that. I think Bonk Guy seems like a pretty trustworthy person. I don't like know him personally, personally, but from what I've seen from him, he seems like decently trustworthy with the stuff that he's put out. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that is where my head was at, but I just want to, always want to check myself and make sure I'm not getting too bullish. But like you said, the reasoning behind it all adds up to me. And like you and Wolf were just saying, if it's traded $250 million in volume, that I can't imagine any centralized exchange is looking at that and saying, no, I don't think I want any piece of that volume in fees, right? So yeah, I think it is there. I think it has all of the what whether you want to say the TA or even just the narrative. I do think it's all kind of aligned, and fingers crossed we get another couple moves up. Whether it's here in the next week or next couple of months, but. I'm holding my fart coin for dear life. I'm taking it to the grave with me at this point. So come get it, boys.
Hell yeah, I love that. Oh, I should shout out one other one that's been super hot. Not quite as valuation of Fartcoin and stuff, but Housecoin. I'm sure you guys have seen that on the
Mm,
timeline. It's got some very notable new KOLs that I've seen, which one of like the main one being Ansem, who's been shilling it like crazy the last few days. D Farmer as well, who I do respect. He's he's big into it as well, and it's starting to become more of a consensus trade. So I want to throw that one out there. I allocated a bit to it just because I feel like newer coin. I think it's probably higher risk than something like Farcoin, but bigger upside since because of its market cap right now being like 1/20th of what Farcoin is. I don't love the meme as much. I think it's like one house coin equals one house or something like that, or like we're gonna flip the housing market is kind of like their thing, but it is something that is more like normie related, I'd say, and like it can be like decently like easily explained, I would say, as a meme to people. So I think with how much traction it has in terms of like consensus among like bigger crypto Twitter accounts, that there's a good amount of room for upside still, even though it's pumped quite a bit from, I think it was only like 10 million before Ansem Shield like 2 or 3 days ago, and now it's around like 50 million or so. But I still think, oh yeah, almost 60 million. But I still think there's a good amount of upside from here on Housecoin.
yeah, I was that was gonna be how I ended this segment off. You front ran me just a touch. I was gonna ask
Oh,
the age old question, Jake. does one house equal one house coin? So yeah, appreciate you getting into that. And yeah, I'm not in house coin trade. I saw it a few weeks ago, right when it was at just burgeoning 1 million, 5 million market cap, and I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of funny, but I just didn't see like volume, and like you were saying, we didn't have too many runners, so I just kind of stayed out of it. And again, regardless of your opinion on Ansem and all of them, it is just nice to see people get in the trenches, trading coins, seeing that that's part of the battle in my mind is just seeing that a coin can break 50 million, get to 100 million market cap, make because it gives the belief to the rest of, the degens and the traders that, well, if this coin can do it, something else can too, right? It's just kind of it's that trickle down belief that I do think you kind of need to have a successful alt season, kind of like you led off the show with. So eh, not in-house coin. Hope it does well for you and everyone else who has it, because I am a believer that if house coin does well, then I think we see some other runners that, not necessarily a beta to the narrative of it, but a beta that, well, if house coin gets to 100 million, we can absolutely have another 50 million runner, a couple 20, 25 million runners. And I think you and everyone would agree that the more runners we can have, the better that we're all going to be, doing here in the trenches and just trading day by day. So excited for that activity, and hope you get a big win out of it, bro.
Yeah, man, much appreciated. It kind of, when you said that, it kind of reminded me of, I think something to look out for. Maybe if you're trying to identify like a cultish meme that could go bigger, like early, is a lot. One thing that like a lot of these have in common is that they all have like this easy like saying, like a quick little one liner that they can just like be like their rallying cry. Like for house coin, it's one house coin equals one house. Fart coin, it's hot air rises. Whiff is like the dog has a hat. It's just like all these like bigger memes. They all have like this really easy thing that people can just say like on Twitter, like the rallying cry behind it. And I think that's actually pretty powerful thing, even though it seems relatively minor.
No, that's I could not agree more with you, man. I think that's an extremely relevant point that people, I think the idea of community, right, gets it gets laughed at, a little bit, rightfully so. But people do want to feel a part of a community. They want to feel a part of something bigger than themselves, and having a simple phrase like that, whether it's a meme or a joke, or whether it's actually they really do believe that one house coin equals one house. They need something they can express on Twitter outside of just dropping a contract address, right? So I I think that's a great point. Like if you just have a checklist of things you're looking for in, well, this is a good meme, or this could become very viral, right? Does it have, I think that you need to add that to your checklist. Does it have a quick little one-off phrase of a few words that is funny or truthful or whatever that people can attach to? So I think that's a great point, man.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else with shitcoins? Oh, I did want to mention quickly AI stuff. Um, in my opinion, I don't think I think AI as like a sector for coins is not going to go away. That easily from it had such a huge initial pump and obviously quite a lot of froth. Where like these rappers were getting like crazy, these chat GPT rappers and stuff were just getting these crazy valuations for coins, and like there's so many scams out there. I think we've had a much needed correction, quite a huge one too, and we're starting to see some nice strength for some of the main ones from the previous pump. And I still think like that's a sector that isn't going away, just with how prevalent AI is becoming, more and more, just in like every part of our everyday lives. It's hard to think like that AI coins won't continue. In my opinion, what's hard about AI coins is like picking the right ones. Just because uh, the like the the technology in general like is so ever changing, and like you'll think that something's a really great novel idea, and then like someone else will build the same thing really quickly and maybe even better. Um, but just in general, I think stuff that has proven to have value and proven to have a community behind it is probably going to be a decent bet going forward. If you do feel like the market in general is in a good place, then I like betting on some of these AI coins. And like looking at I have a AI like specific coin watch list on CoinGecko, and like it's pretty damn green right now. I'm looking at stuff like Zero Bro is up 162% on the week. Virtuals is up 120%. AI 16Z is up 80%. ARC is up 80%. AI XBT up 65%. So we're seeing some really nice bounces on some of the bigger, more established stuff. Um, so yeah, any thoughts around AI? I don't know if any disagreements on my take that it's going to continue to do well, or yeah, would love to hear people's thoughts on the AI sector of things.
I feel like it's hard to disagree, honestly. Like, I think AI, it's not going away, right? Like, whether in coins and technology, the way we use it here in crypto, or in just, everyday life, right? The way it's gonna, I mean, it's already kind of becoming a tool that everyone is using and utilizing in their daily lives, whether it's ChatGPT helping them come up with a dieting plan or a workout regimen, or they're using it for their in real life jobs, which even I have more and more friends working at just traditional jobs that are using chat gpt, grok, all of them to help build them out tools. And I do agree with crypto. I think the narrative will be there. I don't feel as comfortable trading it for the reasons you stated, Jake. Like, it moves so lightning fast that it really could be a grade A kind of coin backing a really strong project and idea and narrative, and then literally 24 hours later something could come out that is just like two steps better than it, and kind of innovates on that idea. So it moves so lightning quick, and I don't think I have the necessary kind of like tools to dissect what would make something truly unique in that arena. But if you do, and I feel like you probably do, you're so dialed into meme coins, shit coins, alts, all that you probably have a better eye than I do. And if you do, absolutely, I think it's something you should try to key in on and trade. I know, our very own Ross boss. He was big on AI. He traded a lot of virtual stuff. He did very well with it. So the opportunity is there, right? We might end up going into a sell in May and go away. That does not mean AI technology is going to stop innovating, because all the devs are going to be, on spring break all summer in Daytona. They're going to be deving. They're going to be making advancements. There's always going to be another trade. So I think AI is definitely somewhere, if you want to try and focus on one particular narrative, that one is going to provide a ton of opportunity for the next weeks and months.
Yeah, I think that's good context in that like it's almost like you have to solely focus on it to be able to be good at it, which I think is certainly a viable strategy. Obviously, we've seen that a lot in crypto. Like it helps to have your niches with how big we've expanded, um, just in terms of all the different assets and lanes that you can go down in crypto. But AI in particular, the knowledge, like almost like the base knowledge that you need, is super important to understand like if this is a grift or if this is like actually real or if this is pretty helpful. Like there's a decent amount of learning curve compared to something like a meme, for instance, of just like an animal or whatever, or politics or whatever. It certainly takes more work, but I think that can give you a nice leg up, right? That can help you be early because other people aren't doing that work, and we see that a lot in various avenues of crypto. So I think again, it is an area that like you said, like I think a lot of people probably would agree that it's going to continue to expand. It's just hard to know where. But if you do apply yourself, if you do put in the work to kind of learn the basics of like what to look for, how to like suss out what is like a shitty project versus what is actually something that can move the needle, then you could have a lot of success there. Because I think majority people, even just the majority of people who are trading the coins, aren't doing that work.
hmm I'll end it with this comparison. When the DD required of me was to check, is the dog actually wearing a hat? I was comfortable there. When the DD gets to examine this GitHub and tell me if it's legit, I'm I'm not so sure I have the skills for that part.
I am right there with you. I am right there with you. Um, yeah. Anything else? Anyone have anything on just like altcoins, shitcoins in general, AI stuff, memes, whatever? Before we keep going.
I think on AI coins, like the first go round was more hype than anything else, right? It was really just like AI chatbots and stuff like that. But this second, I guess, cycle, we're gonna see like companies like separate from the noise and like really put out like a real product. And I think those are gonna be the huge winners. And like to you guys' point, AI is not going away. Like even at my job, Copilot's pretty much integrated with every like application we use. I just think everyone has to adopt AI.
Yeah, I really like that take. I think you can see that kind of in anything that has a big run up and then a big downfall. There's so many people who got burned by like these subpar, like shitty, underdeveloped, coins that they're more wary of, looking for quality, and that quality kind of stands out more once the new ones come around. So I think it's a really good call. Um, yeah, cool. We can move it on. We can move on to let's see here. Yeah, farms and just in general. I think it's still a good time. Market hasn't been crazy heating up hot, but it's still a good time. I think to allocate some different farms. I would say there's going to be usually, what happens when the market gets better is teams are more likely to TGE. So some of these farms could start coming to fruition here for a lot of people, but many of them haven't quite yet. So there's still time, I would say, to get into several things. I mean, abstract's obviously a big one. I know there's a ton of people in MVHQ who've been grinding abstract for a while. I think that's going to be. I mean, I don't know what their tokenomics is or anything, but I think that's there's probably a decent chance for that to pay off, just given um, how slow things were, and how many with the less competition, and just the fact the abstract itself, I think, can capture a good amount of mind share with like Pengu behind it, Luca, Saigar. They have a lot of positive, I would say, influence and influencers behind what they're doing. That there's a decent chance that they could have some success with their token launch. And yeah, so I'm still big on what Abstract's doing. They have some fun games. People are actually enjoying the farm for the most part, I would say. Um, and yeah, I want to shout out still Ethos. I think is a good one, even though it's fallen off a bit. I still think it's like worth just doing the. I mean, you can just do the daily tasks, which take like 30 seconds to get your streak going. It don't cost anything. Um, what else? Obviously, Fantasy Top. Got to shout out that. And yeah, anything
Yeah.
else? What do you What do you farm in Silva, if anything?
Y- yeah. Farming just the barest amount possible abstract because I have Pangu and some pudgy assets, so I get a decent bonus, I guess, in my XP. So I'm not nearly as like in depth as a lot of our farmers and abstract channel are. You've got JJ, Cap, Meg, Theric, Easy Snipe. I think X is cool. There's so many people in there that are playing every game, every DAP, and you see they're crushing it like routinely, week in, week out. They are the top 1% of earners for XP. So if anyone is listening right now and you're a little hesitant to jump in, you think you might be too late, not sure where to start, I cannot recommend enough. Jump in the abstract focus discussion, ask around. It's just, I mean, it's MVHQ long timers, OGs who have they're also giving with their advice and alpha and how to approach it. So definitely think I agree, that's a good one. another confluencing factor that I think kind of helps with that. I don't know if they're going to TGE tomorrow or next year, right? But like we said at the top of the show, Tengu is up right now. I'm looking 133% over the week. If that, and similarly on looking at like fantasy top heroes, Luca Nets over the weekend was scored like number 4 in the whole game. So it's clear they're recapturing some of that mind share, some of that attention, right? So I think if they continue on that trend, Tengu can keep pumping or even just stay steady. Luca keeps getting high engagement, good vibes out there. I do think that all just kind of has a lot of synergy with Abstract, right? And just yeah, right. I mean, they're financially incentivized. Luca is to pump the blockchain he's building. So I do think if one of their ecosystem assets kind of rises, it's the rising tide lifts all boats kind of argument. So definitely agree with you on Abstract there.
Yeah, while we're on the abstract, I have to shout out Cambria, because I know a lot of MVHQ people were into it, and it struck me. It's like it was. I played it, and it's like honestly, it was like addicting. I don't know if anyone like for anyone who plays RuneScape, it's like basically RuneScape, um, but but on chain, I mean, you don't have to like sign a bunch of transactions. Really, only just like a couple of very menial things to get rewards. Um, but besides that, like it was actually like a really fun game, super engaging, and they saw a lot of participation. I mean, they had like probably like no matter when you logged on, there was probably at least like a few like 3 or 4 thousand people all playing at the same time. They showed you the numbers, and I think majority of those were real people. I mean, there's probably some who are like you can like AFK like fish farm or whatever if you wanted to. It's which is like maybe semi worth it or whatever, but for the most part, it was super. It's definitely like a lot of real people playing the game, and they had up to a 1 point. I think the prize pool for the season 2, which is what it was. I think which lasted for like 2 weeks or so. I think it got up to like $1.4 million.
See.
And that's in USDC too. That wasn't counting like the stuff that you get for their TGE, which hasn't happened yet. So a lot of traction, I would say, for a crypto game, and it was legit fun. Like I had like fun playing it. I probably like it was probably a game that you would actually play even if there was no crypto involved, which I think is like probably like the biggest positive that you could say about a crypto game. So I just want to shout out Cambria. You can't play it right now because they do like sprints of seasons where they like do the season and then they like shut it down and then they upgrade it, add a bunch of new features, and they do like a new season. And they've done this twice now. I don't think they've said when they're going to start their third season yet. But I would just say like if you like gaming, if you like going down the rabbit hole of these kind of things, you can do that. You can farm Cambria's token, you can farm Abstract's token, and you can like compete for like the USDC prize pool all in one. So I think it's a pretty good one, pretty good farm. It's like pretty fun, and I'm pretty bullish honestly after playing the game on just the Cambria ecosystem in general because they actually built a game that people like and got addicted to, which you really don't see in Web3.
You love to see a good 3-in-1 farm right there, right?
Yeah.
Farming 2 tokens that haven't TGE'd and just a straight up prize pool being distributed. I mean, yeah, you can't ask for a better kind of, asymmetric risk bet in my mind than that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's cheap to do too. Like and it's nice because you can kind of get in on different levels. You can probably put in as much as you want or as little as you want. You can play the game for free, and maybe get like a small piece. I think like the lowest tier is like 0.02 ETH to pay and earn rewards, which isn't bad at all. Um, and yeah, again, it was legit fun. Like people were posting like clips and stuff online, and people are like having guilds and playing with each other. Like you could like kill other people in the game, like real people, real like players, like take all their stuff. It's like high risk reward. Yeah, I just wanted to present my my bullishness on Cambria. And maybe it's a good time. They have some founders NFTs if you do want some type of exposure right now. They have founders NFTs, which I think there's 1,500 of them. Their floor is zero point 0.7 ETH right now for those, and those give you like bonus perks and stuff in the game. And I'm pretty sure you get some type of like allocation for TGE as well from those, or at least like a bonus of earning stuff. Maybe like some kind of multiplier. And they also have companion NFTs too, which are on Ronin Network. I'm not sure what exactly that floor is, but it's a good amount lower than the founders. So yeah, if you want to get um, exposure right now, you can probably do it for cheaper than what it would be once they launch their new season, just because there's not really anything going on right now. But yeah, wanted to shout out that. Any other farms that people are all about or getting into? Oh, I did want to shout out Die Bars. Rule posted a field report yesterday on he said actively lazy in Web3. He posted about some ways to farm some different airdrops. So wanted to shout that out too if you want to get more involved in that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you said it. Fantasy Top continues to be either my 1A or 1B farm, just week in, week out, set some lineups, win some ETH, win some more cards, either play or sell those back for more ETH and, accrue their fantasy points, which, the worst kept secret in Web3 that will be their TGE for what is thought to be a fantasy token at some point. So just just keep on doing that. I mean, they introduced some new system last week. It's called Clout. Probably their biggest update since they launched, I would say, where it kind of swaps out. They're moving almost like a 4-week season esque kind of a schedule. And after every season, the bottom number of heroes will be removed. So basically getting rid of all the people who aren't present on Twitter anymore, who are just basically zero scores, and replacing those with new heroes. And I mean, it is not gated by anything. So, Jake, if you wanted to go on your influencer arc and you wanted to start posting 5, 10, 15 times a day and get your Twitter engagement up, you could be the next fantasy top hero, which
Yep.
is just a cool little thing, right? Once you're in the ecosystem, all the heroes, they get a cut of their cards that get traded on the marketplace. It's a cool thing, right? Like, not that I ever really intend on being a hero or anything like that, but seeing the process be opened up a little bit to the public and just given a little more accessibility in that way. Just always a fantasy top bull, always a fan of what they're doing over there.
Yeah, great shouts. Yeah, I'm a fan of Fantasy Top 2. I don't do it anymore, just mainly from a time perspective, because I know it's one of those things where I'd want to, like, if I did it, I'd want to be really good at it. So I'd want to like put in a lot of time to strategize, and
Hmm.
like you play the market and all those things. Like it's pretty similar to kind of like how Rainmakers is. I would say.
Yep.
So I know I like what they're doing. I just know, like, from a time perspective, I'd have to put in a lot to make it worth it for myself.
Hmm.
And I can't really do that right now. But I do like what they're doing a lot. I think the fact that they've maintained the player base that they have, even after, like, the initial run up from the Blast stuff, is a really good sign. And I really like how the team interacts on Twitter and stuff. I think they're funny, and they're good at shit posting, and they're good at shipping new updates and stuff. So I'm a fan from the sidelines, but still a fan.
Yeah, it's funny. You bring up Rainmakers. Honestly, that is one of the things, over it, because the product is just about a year old now, which is crazy to think. We've been playing the game for a year and just no signs of slowing down. But seeing the success that you and Poop, JJ, so many of the longtime MVHQ OGs had in Rainmakers, that's what gave me kind of that early conviction to go in on Fantasy Top. Just because I didn't join Rainmakers early enough. I played, but I was a couple of weeks or months behind after the season started, so just playing catch up for most of the time.
Hmm.
but I saw the conviction you guys had. I saw how successful you were. Just like you said, you put in that time and you think and you find your edge. I felt like I could do that with Fantasy Top, if I got in early enough. And I mean, I can't count my chickens before they hatch, all that, but I feel like it's done pretty well for me. I'm very happy with everything that's been going on. The opportunities that have come from it, whether it's just winning ETH or um, you know, hopefully getting something out of a TGE here in the future. Also, there have been whitelists and growing, just growing my Twitter following into some actual good accounts that I would have never found otherwise. It's opened up a lot of avenues. So whether it's about Fantasy Top or not, I definitely can empathize with that feeling of get in early, find something you have conviction in, and just dive in, because that's really where you do the best. And that was going to bring me to my last kind of farm that I'm really big into, which is, we not going to be the first time we've talked about it, and it won't be the last, but it's Barachain. Um, I mean, Barachain has just been so kind to me, and I feel like to so many people that are in that chat. The yields have been just insane. I mean, I haven't withdrawn just yet, but I mean, I've been converting the stables just about every day from whatever my native yield is over there, and it's going to pay my entire tax bill for the year
Oh,
2024. Like, not like, I try not to like brag and pat myself on the back publicly, just because I know everyone's going through different stuff. Some people are having good weeks, some bad, but I I got an airdrop from owning some bears. I threw in a little more ETH, not a lot, not even 5 ETH extra over there, and my yield is going to pay for a 5-figure tax bill alone, and I can just pull everything else off of it. So that at finding those kind of opportunities, like you were saying, almost kind of tying it back to the beginning of the show, right? Everyone's digging, so you should probably zag even just a little. Barachain was built in the bear market when no one wanted to buy NFTs, when no one wanted to trade, and they gave a I don't even know how many X percent return. Like it is done very well. It is not too late. The protocols, the dApps, the blockchain is still growing. So yeah, just final call. Go check out Barachain. Like we've got a great crew of people in there who will help you out. Banger, Cap, AI, Ricky, myself, anyone in there will help you get started, show you the ropes. Like, yeah, if you have any questions, please go in the focus discussion, ask us around. We're more than happy to help acclimate anyone new to the ecosystem. But yeah, that's my time on Barachain. Don't wanna be too overly bullish on it.
I love it. That might be what I needed to hear. I might have to join you guys. What I'm curious. You have to get like dollar amounts, but like percent terms. What kind of yields are we talking here?
So the way it worked, like their whole thing is they pioneered a new system called proof of liquidity. So they basically you're just going to stake like in a regular liquidity pool. The APRs I'm seeing on my pairs right now are right around 200%. Um, but I've gotten in some. They started at 700%, right? So I made a pretty big bag when they were in the 700s, and they've since come down because as new protocols and dApps will launch, they will offer more rewards to get a higher return from the flywheel of proof of liquidity. So, like, if I go over there right now and look, let me just see what some of the top ones are. APRs. Yeah, so there's some APRs I'm looking at right now, and I'll post the screenshot in chat. 750%, 560%, 450%, 330%, 300%, 250%. Like, some of it is just kind of silly sounding, but uh, it's worked. It has worked. There haven't been any hacks really of note. There hasn't been, uh, a big liquidity pool manager protocol has lost millions of dollars in funds. It's all just been pretty smooth sailing, and you farm it and you go claim your rewards, and you can cash out, and the team is always building, very communicative. And like Cap was really the one who kind of convinced me it's a cult. This was a cult born out of the Ohm days from whatever that was, 3, 4, 5 years ago. The NFTs were minted and mostly traded during the bear market of the last few years. like it they didn't need success to want to build all of this. They built it all and the success has kind of come organically, and yeah, I'm a big fan.
We love cults, that's for sure.
That we do. And I just posted a screenshot so you can kind of see some of the different pairs and some of the APRs you can get there, uh, along with the TVL in each pool.
All right,
Hey,
I'm gonna have to set aside some time. I'm gonna make a note to myself, set aside some time to learn Barachain.
please do. I mean, and really the yields, like that's like I said, that's all part of proof of liquidity. That's instead of, like state, proof of stake, right? That's their own like blockchain backing mechanism. They also have like NFTs. NFTs have been going crazy over there. I mean, they just launched a Milady kind of derivative, or they call it an anti-derivative. It minted for 30 Bera. It's at like 100 to 120 or 30 floor. Last I checked, I got a few of those. Some people like Cap and Banger have 28 or 29 of them because of some other NFTs that they bought. So they just got a shit ton airdrop to them. Um, Steady Teddies, which we did a mission with, those minted for, I don't know, something like 7 or 10 Bera, and they were at 150 Bera floor last I checked. So even if DeFi isn't your thing, there's NFTs, there's meme coins. Like it feels like early ETH days from 2021, with just everything kind of popping off and a lot of stuff doing well, being exciting.
How how active would you say you have to like manage your positions?
You know,
Real.
that's it depends on what kind of pair you want to put in the LP, right? Because some of these are a little more obscure pairs, I would say. Um, but I do the Bera token, so just the main like gas token Bera, and some form of BGT, which is one of like the three tokens in the proof of liquidity. So the actual my impermanent loss isn't going to be crazy like in one of those. Like neither of those are meme coins or alts that are going to like dip crazy compared to the other one. They're pretty much tied 1 to 1. Um, and I would say like your APR is never going to go down to zero, right? Because the APR is being incentivized by the actual protocol, like putting in its own money to offer as rewards. So it as long as some of these liquidity pool like protocols that have millions of dollars that they're managing, they're not just going to turn everything off, because then everyone would pull their funds and go to another one, right? So it's never going to go to zero. I would say the lowest it's ever gone is maybe like 50%. And that was it. I was doing like a wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped ETH pair or something like that, right? So you you can definitely manage it day by day. And in case it's dipping too much, you can move it out and move it into another pool that'll have higher APR, more incentives. But for the most part, man, I've been very hands off with it. I've only allocated into 2 or 3 pools. I've switched it up only once or twice in the last 2 or 3 months since it launched, and I mean, it's been really smooth sailing for me.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for answering the questions and the breakdown, dude. I'm gonna have to get more into it.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, tag cap, tag banger. Um, they'll get you sorted in there.
Will do. Yeah. Um. 10 minutes past the hour here, but we can keep going. Obviously, Silva, I know you wanted to talk about some card stuff, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, I'll get into that here. Kind of my final farewell. I know I've been rambling, but God,
No, I love it. We love the Silva Alpha, man.
I hope you can tell. Like I love this stuff, man. I'm passionate about it. Like whether it's Barachain and yields and nascent blockchain mechanisms, or just shiny cardboard. Like I love hanging out with everyone here. I love sharing this stuff. Then like Cap and Banger put me onto Barachain, right? So I want to share that with everyone in the community. I want to see I wish I saw 400 people in the Barachain chat chatting in there doing everything we're doing, because I feel like everyone would be making more money if they were. Same way Ezrin put me onto trading cards and Pokemon stuff almost 2 years ago at this point, and now we're really in the golden bull run there, and everything is at its peak all-time high. And like Same thing. I want everyone to be making money with everyone else because I really feel like it's possible.
Hell yeah, I agree, man. I'm all about that.
But yeah, last week we saw, some pretty interesting kind of trading card game and crypto stuff blend together. Ubisoft and Immutable X, the blockchain, they announced a partnership where they relaunched Might and Magic, which is like kind of an older video game IP and brand. So they kind of brought it back from the dead and turned it into, or are turning it into a crypto and blockchain based trading card game. Um, so I don't have a lot of experience with Might and Magic, but apparently it's pretty big in some circles. So I'm really, and it's backed by Ubisoft, right? Like that's not a small name in video games. So I'm excited to see what they can do there, especially if all the cards are on the blockchain, if they're all essentially NFTs you can buy, sell, trade. Think of, think of Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering Arena, if you could just trade those or sell them on a marketplace for money. I It all depends on how the card game actually plays and looks, right? But I do think that could be a huge opportunity for us to be early into, taking something that's huge in the traditional world, right? TCGs and cardboard and competitive card games, putting it on the blockchain and letting degens, try to pull the rare one of ones or, the overpowered cards that are going for 5x anything else. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that and hopefully try and have a field report on it sometime, when we have more details, because I think that could be a big winner as far as just get in early, rip some packs, try and sell them for whatever the premium might be and cash out. And then
Yeah.
there was, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say appreciate the rundown. I don't have much else on that. I've never been like a traditional card guy. I just like I work so much better with like being able to sell really quickly and not have to handle anything of the product. But I know people are doing really well, and that's great to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, this might be right up your alley then, right? Like if it's all just on the blockchain, it would have
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that frictionless element. And then I mean, hell, it's basically the Rainmaker marketplace all over. And I know you did
very true.
pretty well there.
That's very true. Yeah,
And yeah, last thing I wanted to mention, there was a rumor last week about Pokemon and Sui or Sui. I'm not really sure how exactly you say it, but the SUI blockchain. And it came out like at first it was just a rumor, and then it also launched all last week where it's it's not trading cards, but it's like badges and like they're still called collectibles, but it is very obvious to see. It's like it's Pokemon dipping their toe into the blockchain water, right? Seeing how this goes, seeing is there a market for it? Do Are people going to mint these things, right? How popular is it? So I'm very curious to kind of see how that one plays out because while I don't think there's like any monetary value to be gained right now, if it goes well, I could absolutely see Pokemon try and do something in NFTs, whether it's a blockchain backed version of their card game or something along those lines. Because they did most notably they released a digital card game app last November, something like that. It's been out for a few months now, and it did gangbusters. It's doing like tens or hundreds of millions in just USD volume. I mean, and there is no marketplace. There's no trading. It's literally just you buy digital packs and that's it. Like you pay Pokemon for them. But you don't get physical versions. Like I don't really understand it because you can't gain anything from it. You can't sell your own collection, but they are still raking in money hand over fist. So I see all of those as just little breadcrumbs for if all of that continues to go well, I think we see them in blockchain sooner rather than later. And I mean that along with like Disney, right? Pokemon is one of like the top 3 or 5 IP ever. So I just think that's something. Keep your ear to the ground. Just kind of keep an eye on that. I'll also try and keep an eye on it, include it in some field reports and stuff like that. But some really really cool stuff coming with that intersection of blockchain and traditional trading cards. So lot of stuff heating up out there, folks. A lot of stuff to keep your eye on.
I mean, NFTs, like Pokemon launching NFTs. I mean, like that's like the grail. I feel like if you can actually start trading those. I mean, I would certainly want to get involved on those. I mean, we already know like how established the collector market is for that. So if we get some on chain stuff, oh baby.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Like if I don't want to sound too bullish because obviously I trade the physical cards also, but if we saw those on chain, it would go ballistic. I don't even know what I would compare it to. Like that's how crazy I think it would be because they would have all of us degens in a tizzy, and I mean that could legitimately be one of those kind of like massive onboarding points that we all talk about. Like
Yep.
how are we going to onboard this? How billion people on the blockchain, it's something like that. You bring Pokemon on the blockchain, you're gonna get a froth and a fervor unlike anything we've ever seen, bro.
So Ezrin says they're like POAPs for visiting places. So does that mean it's for Pokemon Go specifically, the one on the Sui uh, partnership?
Maybe it might be. Ezrin, any do you have any clarity there? I mean I don't play Pokemon Go. That's as sad as it is. If there isn't a way for me to profit, I'm not going to be quite as interested. So if that were the case, I wouldn't really know. So I don't know if Ezrin can talk or not, but
The thing I saw was, so they've got this new kind of concept of like Pokemon Home, which is like all your different ways of doing Pokemon games are going to be like grounded into this one platform now called Pokemon Home. I don't think like all the games console stuff is going to be part of the blockchain stuff. I don't think Pokemon Go is either. But there was the part which they basically talked about having as maybe part of the SUI thing. It's all kind of not really well documented yet, but the part that I saw was almost stamps for visiting shops. Like, you go to Japan and Pokemon Center, you go to some event like the World Championships, you can like claim what looks to me like a badge, like a POAP type thing to basically say you were there. And that's the part that I thought looked like it was going to be part of the blockchain. But I guess that's maybe like a start of it all. Who knows where else it's going to go? The fact they're even looking at it is pretty crazy. So, yeah, that's as much as I got.
thank you for that context, my man, because I definitely had none of that.
No worries.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. Um, yeah, I think that's about all I had for today. Covered a lot of subjects. Been a good one. I mean, we got more to talk about now with the market heating up, so that's been great. Um, anything else on your end, Silva, or anyone from the crowd that we wanted to get to today?
Nothing really on my mind. I'll end with one final plug here. Not really blockchain at all, but we got a focus discussion, so we need to lean into it. The starting May 1st is going to be probably the craziest, in my opinion, the craziest 4 to 6 weeks we're going to see in trading cards of the year. All right. Like we have several brand new sets launching for a bunch of different card games like Pokemon, like Magic the Gathering, some other smaller known ones like Flesh and Blood. But it's just there's several sets that are being like touted as potentially the best of all time or just super hyped up. Pre-orders have gone crazy. So if you have not taken any of our pleas to go check out that trading card game focus discussion, I would go check it out now because, like I said, May going into June, you're gonna see fireworks, and I have a feeling you're gonna see people in there selling for crazy amounts. The hype is only gonna grow. Yeah, so before it's too late, before you're seeing everyone with success posts and you're seeing everyone that, yep, I sold this for 5, 10x, just go check it out now. Go, save the post, go dip your toes in, go ask some questions, because once we get to, a week or two out, it's going to be too late. Everything's going to be dry. Markets are going to be kind of going crazy. So that'll be my final plea here. Trading card game channel, because May and June are going to be just bonkers.
I'll add one thing to that too. I agree with you. It's gonna be crazy, and if you're new to it, I'd say just like take your time. Don't rush in because usually when we see like a parabolic spike in prices, that means like a crash is kind of like around the corner. And I do kind of suspect some kind of softening of prices after this initial boom. So I would just be a little bit mindful of that. But outside of that, I think it's like a very bullish market. It's just going to have some kind of short-term corrections after a spike up.
Agreed. Agreed. Waff is speaking the truth there. He is in that channel. He's making his list. He knows what he's targeting. I mean, the proof is in the pudding for the man himself, right? He got in there, he did his research. He yeah, we were talking a little bit yesterday, and I love seeing everyone get in there and coming up with their thesis, figuring out what they want to buy, why they want to buy it. Like it's just so great to see. So Wolf, glad to have you there. I know you've been big in sports cards forever, so glad to have you in the some of the other trading card game streets, and just get to experience this golden bull run with you, bro.
Thanks, appreciate that. It's almost like an epiphany for me. Like I collected NFTs, I collected sports cards, but just never, like stuff like Pokemon and other TCGs. So now it just kind of come full circle. And it makes a lot of sense, especially with Pokemon. I just think like the long term investment potential is so huge, and how like when
Hmm.
these sets go out of print and like that's it. Like they're just like golden. So even now, like just buying up stuff that seems undervalued just makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep. I mean, yeah, couldn't said it better myself. Listen to the Wolf dog.
Yeah, I'm happy. It's getting people like WoF in there because it kind of adds additional kind of value to what I thought was a good IP. I mean, you can see there in the picture I just put up, like Pokemon is by far the highest IP. It's like flying past like Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, um, Disney, Star Wars, Barbie, like all that stuff. Not a single booster box in history has ever dropped below market value. Sorry, market price after like it goes out of print. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, which is like there's this whole big rip and ship community now who are absolutely decimating sealed product by selling them on different platforms like Whatnot and TikTok and that sort of stuff. And so the concept for sealed product and like the scarcity of it is absolutely crazy. They're kind of overprinting. They're not overprinting, but they're trying to keep up with demand at the moment. And that was one of the things that I posted yesterday in the trading card game group was just that everyone's got their focus right now on all the newest sets. Don't pay crazy prices. Try and secure something locally, and if you can. But there's some other sets that are well out of print that are still very decently valued that were before the craziness that happened of the last like 3 months. Those were kind of what I was mentioning people should target, and I saw Woff actually posted he's picked up some of the stuff that I mentioned there. So that's great to see. So yeah, come and ask anything. It feels daunting in the beginning. There's a lot to get used to, like how often sets come out, why it would be this, that, or the other, what's a good set, what's a bad set. But there's 2 field reports, or more than 2 now. I think maybe 3. Silva posted one that was covering not just Pokemon, but all the stuff you mentioned earlier, which is some new TCGs that are coming out and why you should potentially keep an eye on picking up the first couple of sets of that. There's usually a lot of upside in having the first print of the first set, as well as some other tips for picking up sealed Pokemon, whether it's English or Japanese. And yeah, we're all pretty happy to chat about it. There's a lot of us in there who are pretty knowledgeable. Silva's really knowledgeable. We've got Botwin, and then we've got people like WAF as well coming up with some great concepts for what he's kind of targeting. So yeah, come and chat.
I mean, you guys are definitely the pros. I'm just kind of like learning from you, and then kind of trying to put my own spin on the strategy that I have because it's hard to get some of this product out there, and like you don't want to overpay, and you might catch FOMO and overpay. So I think my thought process is like look at some of the PSA data and see which cards seem to be like a little bit more difficult to get in a PSA 10 and chase those singles while people kind of like dismiss them, and just like load up on PSA 10s that I think are going to be a lot more scarce later on. So definitely learning from you guys, but just kind of putting an additional spin on it.
Love that. Yeah, it's great to see.
Yeah, I love that WAF. Just another data point to support that. I recently submitted my first like big order to PSA from cards that I'd ripped myself. The raw value, I sent in 21 cards. The raw value was around 2,200, and I got the grades, and I'm getting back all their values again combined with now graded is worth a little over 5,500. If I just sold today, not even trying to hold anything. So definitely agree with you there. There's multiple ways to play this, right? There's more than one ways to skin a cat. You can go for sealed and hold on to that. You can go by your approach and look for those harder to grade cards because some of them. I mean, one card in particular, it was worth maybe 500 or 600 bucks raw, and now is worth closer to 1,500 because I got it in a 10. So those opportunities, they are there if you're willing to put in the legwork and do a little bit of research. So very much ascribe to that point of view, and maybe that's something you could even write up a little field report on because I think the way you outlined it, the way you've got some of those charts and some of those the way you're tracking it that you showed in the thread, I think that would be a super valuable resource for a lot of people. But regardless, great strategy.
Thanks, and congrats on your nice PSA 10 and higher gem rate because I know a lot of people are not really don't really know how to grade cards that well, and they get surprised when cards come back like PSA 7s and 8s and stuff like that. So you don't want to be surprised. You don't want to like overestimate the grade of your card. So knowing how to grade cards is definitely a good skill to have. And just to bring it all the way back, like you can use AI to help you grade cards. That's what I like to do. I like to drop cards in Grok and like have it assess pretty much the centering, the edging, the corners. I mean, you can't really do the surface. That's something that you can't do, but at least you could kind of get an assessment off the bat on like centering. Some of the centering is kind of tough to see. um More with sports cards, I want to say, because like they don't really have true borders anymore. But
Yeah.
with Pokemon, it's kind of a lot easier to see. So like you see cards for a good deal, like take a look at that centering. It could be like way off. I mean, I think it's really easy to see on Pokemon.
Hmm.
So if you're really good at just kind of looking at cards and kind of coming up with this looks like a 9 or a 10, like those are the ones to buy because the gem rates are, if you get a PSA 10, you could probably 3-4x the value of that card, and if you bought it at a competitive rate, now you're talking 400% gain potentially, which is always nice. And then just to go back to like about the popularity of Pokemon, when you look at the PSA numbers, if you're used to like sports numbers and looking at like limited runs and like short printed cards, to see the PSA numbers for Pokemon is a bit shocking. Where like you'll see like 16,000 PSA 10s or something crazy like that, or 5,000 PSA 10s. So then that's why the gem rate really matters because you might see like a huge number of PSA 10s out there. So you might think, oh, this is not really rare at all. But in fact, when you see how many 9s and 8s and all the ones that are not even greater are just out there in the wild, and you know how much they printed, then you realize how rare those PSA 10s actually are. So to me, like that's kind of like I like to go for like the PSA 10s. I think those just kind of work well with collectors because I think some people just like having pristine cards, and
Oh yeah.
that's kind of like the area I'm focusing on. Especially what I like to do is snipe auctions, right? So like you get usually when someone puts something up for auction, you're probably getting it for 15 to 20% less than a buy it now price. And then if they have buy it now or best offer, I mean, hey, throw out those stink bids, throw out low offers. You never know. You might get one and connect on it and save like 20-25% off a cost of a card. And if you think about it, if you save like 20% of each purchase that you make, like it adds up after a while. It might not sound like a lot when you could buy a card for 200 or 180, and like you're like, what's the difference really? And you just buy it for 200. But if you can just save that 20% over and over and over again, it really adds up. And then if you know how the card market works, where a lot of dealers, a lot of vendors, they'll take like 80% of the value of a card or something like that, for like trade. So like if you come in with $100 card and you're looking to trade it for something, maybe there's like an $80 card that the vendor will give you as a trade. But now all of a sudden that vendor now has $100 card, and someone comes to that vendor with wanting to trade for it. Now they're getting like a $125 card or $120 card and trading it for that $100 card. So all of a sudden that vendor took an $80 card and is now up to like 125 just by doing trades. So like if you understand how the whole market works, like these margins matter. So like don't catch FOMO. Try and get the best deal like every single time, and it'll compound and it'll add up at the end.
Great advice. Great advice. Spoken like the man. Yeah, Matt, that was great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, Jake,
And
I don't have much else. I feel like, I have to admit I failed my audition today, going half an hour over our time. But yeah,
no,
I'm fired. I get it. You'll have Jinzo back next week.
no, I vehemently disagree. I think you did awesome. I mean, we covered a insane amount of subjects. A lot of alpha dropped. I mean, damn, all that card trading alpha I was not expecting. So that's sweet. Thank you, Woff, Silva, Ezra, and everyone involved there. But yeah, anything else? I mean, we can keep going if people have any other topics, or we can just shut the show down too and chop it up as well afterwards. But any other topics on people's mind before we wrap it up here?
All good on my side, bro.
Cool. Yeah. So I'd say we can. Yeah, we can stop the recording here. Obviously, you guys are welcome to stay around. Always continue to chop it up. Just a reminder. Obviously, we are having our mint tomorrow. It starts tomorrow for the new membership. Burn your current NFT. Get the new year-long NFT. It's gonna be called Year 5 membership NFT. Excited for that. We're also doing poker tomorrow, so make sure to sign up. I think there was a event announcement, or over in the membership announcements channel. Make sure that the sign up link's there. Some nice prize pool there for poker. Have a little fun, chop it up during the mint time with everyone. And yeah, thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah, thanks everybody so much. Ezrin, Woff, everyone else that came up and talked. Jake, obviously, thank you again for having me up here with you. Appreciate the opportunity, and man, it was a blast. I really enjoyed running through all this and hearing from everyone. Can't wait for next week, man. I'll be ready to kick Jinzo off the stage and mute him with any
Oh,
mod powers I have.
the more the merrier, man. Yeah, great job, Silva. Thank you guys all for contributing. Yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.
Peace.